Soup week, yes! I know some of you are so excited about this little recipe that I'll be making today, and obviously you would have seen some of the other video that I posted earlier in the week making mulligatawny soup. So yes, it's cooled down beautifully, and that means time to get your Thermomix working hard for you in the kitchen. So today's recipe is a UK recipe, and it perhaps may not be something you have tried before. It is a budget-friendly recipe, and I'm quite sure you'll have a couple of these ingredients in your pantry, in your fridge, or where your fruit and veg is stored. So please join me today. Let me know what you guys are having for dinner tonight. I would love to know, because for us, it is sweet potato and corn chowder. Now, I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm not a friend of the word chowder. I had a really bad experience when I was a chef and ate a seafood chowder that did not agree with me. So whenever I hear that word, it brings back some really bad memories for me. But I can assure you that this specific recipe I have had before a number of times, and it is super delicious. The texture is wonderful, and I don't think you would have a problem with it. I'm actually going to make this a dairy-free version today, so you'll be able to see what I substitute for that. So the first part of the recipe, and I am going to make some tweaks, of course. The first part of the recipe is to add in 2 cloves of garlic and 200 grams worth of onions that have been quartered. You'll also notice I have a chili in here, and at the other little portion behind the onions is hiding a frozen portion of some ginger that has been ground up. So I have, yes, tweaked this recipe. As I say, I have made it a few times, and my family do enjoy this one. So I love to have a little bit of spice in our options, so that is exactly what I've done, just added in. And that means you can too, if you find you've made a recipe, and I usually tell customers to do that, and then try it once. If you don't like that recipe, tweak it to how you would like to have it. So let's get the rest of this on, because there's another 5 minutes of cooking. So pour in 40 grams of your olive oil. Now, the reason you add the oil in at this part is to actually make sure that once it's chopped, it's not going to stick onto the side of the bowl. It will just eventually come down towards where the blades are. I am shy of the oil, but I'm okay with that, because we're going to add in 200 grams of tinned sweet corn, and this will be cooked down. So let's put this in. That was just 1 tin of sweet corn. I don't have much left. You're supposed to have about 50 grams left. I had a look at this the tin that I used and measured it out beforehand, and they were shy of 250. So that's okay. So the first thing we're going to do is process this for 5 seconds. And that's on speed 5. Alright, then what we're going to do is scrape down the sides and then cook that for 5 minutes. So let me just actually show you to let you see what it looks like. So you can see I have got some pieces of the chili. If you were making that and you wanted to have smaller pieces of the chili, you can go ahead and just repeat that process. I'm happy to keep those pieces in. And that will now cook for 5 minutes on 120 degrees Celsius, and then speed number 1 on the forward rotation. So that will be the initial portion of your instruction for your recipe. So as I mentioned, this is sweet potato and corn chowder. This is the cook part initially when you have your onions and your garlic. That will just get off that initial rawness of those ingredients, and then what we will do is add in the bulk of the ingredients. So I'm going to run through those while this is just cooking. So just excuse me, I want to drain the bowl that I have. It's just some potatoes. So it does call for 650 grams of your sweet potatoes, and you will notice I did include one normal potato in here because I didn't realize that my sweet potato was actually not big enough, because I'd used some of it in the mulligatawny soup. So all you need to do is just make sure when you're chopping it up, this is actually going to be the size of your potato, your sweet potato, for the finished result. So we're not going to process this product again. So when you're prepping for this recipe, just make sure that it is even smaller than what you would like. So it says 2 centimeters. I'll sometimes cut them smaller so that it can disintegrate a little bit, because the cook time for this particular soup is longer than normal, and that is because of this ingredient. So if you wanted to let your ingredients just disintegrate, I suppose is the best way to put it, or start losing the edges, then definitely cut them smaller. And if you don't have people in your family that enjoy larger pieces in their soup, you can absolutely just spin this up at the end and just make sure that it is smooth, so you can cater to all sorts of needs in your family. Alright, so that is obviously the bulk of your ingredients and your soup. You're also going to have some vegetable stock and some water, as well as some flavoring of some paprika, and optional is cayenne pepper. So I won't be adding that in my recipe today. Remember, I have added the chili as well. Now, if you do not like spice, all you need to do is just eliminate the chili and eliminate the cayenne pepper. And it does say right at the end, in order to serve this, you can put some fresh cracked pepper on your soup and serve it. So again, if you do not like the heat, just eliminate that ingredient and just stay away from the heat ones, the heat ingredients. So let me just see what else. Yes, this was what I was going to mention to you. So for those of you that are dairy free or plant-based or vegan, it does call for some double cream or cream. And in this instance, I'm going to be substituting my coconut milk. You can use coconut cream if you want to, or otherwise just leave that part out if you don't want to add it and make it thick and creamy. But I'm sure there are some fans out there that absolutely adore their cream-based soups. Yes, and this is a gut-friendly version for me, so we use this all the time. I think I have about 30 cans of this stuff, and I know you can make it in your Thermomix. Definitely. So if you want to start making your own things and don't want to have tin versions, have a look on Cookidoo and you will be able to find coconut milk in the recipes and be able to make your own from scratch. So just an option for you. I think I must maybe go through 2 or 3 of these in a week, hence the reason why I have a stash, because I don't ever want to run out of these. These are absolutely a lifesaver. And not only these, but I also have the equivalent in tinned tomatoes. So for those of you that don't know, I am going to be relocating at the end of the year, and from then hopefully I will be able to start growing my own produce, and I'm hoping I won't grow coconuts, but I'm sure I will be able to grow my own tomatoes. So I'm looking forward to that. So I won't have to actually go ahead and buy tinned versions. I will be able to make my own. So I will keep you posted, and I will be sharing about what my journey is. So if you have any questions, or if you're keen to find out what's going on with me and my family, feel free to join along and follow. So alright, oh, this smells so good, so good. Alright, so that's the finished product of the 5-minute cook time. Then what we're going to do is add in that 650 grams worth of the sweet potato, and in my instance, yes, a little bit of the normal potato. Alright, then you're going to add in 300 grams of milk. I'm using almond unsweetened, so dairy-free option for those of you that prefer not to have. Alright, 300. and this does make it creamy as well. So, all right, the next ingredient we're going to add in is 300 grams worth of your plain water. And then we're going to add in, it says 1 vegetable stock cube, crumbled. As I've mentioned to you before, the UK version of recipes will generally say that, or otherwise it does say below that, 1 heaped teaspoon of vegetable stock paste, homemade. And as you know, my family love salt, so I usually go with a tablespoon. Now, the reason I don't mind adding that is because I use very good quality salt, and I also use just plain organic vegetables to make that, so I know exactly what's in it, whereas the version at the store, I don't know what's in it. All right, so the next ingredient we're going to add in is half a teaspoon of our paprika. It says smoked, but I don't have smoked at the moment, and I'm putting it all over my countertop. Never mind. All right, the next thing is the cayenne pepper, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to add in some normal pepper, a couple of twists, and then this will, it does also say, by the way, a teaspoon of fine sea salt. I'm not going to add it. You saw how much stock I actually put in the paste. So there's also a quarter of a teaspoon of your pepper, hence the little couple of squeezes of that, and that will cook now for 30 minutes on 90 degrees Celsius, speed number 1. Then once that has finished, you'll also notice it will ask then for 150 grams of your double cream or your coconut milk or cream, and then the remainder of your sweet corn. So obviously in this case, very pitiful, but it's supposed to be 50 grams of tinned sweet corn that's been drained. And then what you're going to do is mix that around for 30 seconds. It will be on reverse, so you will be able to just stir that through, and then it will be ready to serve with some crusty bread or some soft homemade, perhaps naan even, would be really, really good with this soup. So that is this week's little edition of soups that are perhaps out of the ordinary, not necessarily pumpkin soup or the green pea and ham soup that's coming this weekend for my family, but those obviously are the normal, whereas this and the mulligatawny soup is not necessarily something you may have tried before. So please let me know if you are going to give this a go, and if you have and your family have enjoyed these recipes, please let me know in the comment section below and give this a thumbs up. I'd love to know. So if there's any way I can help you with your Thermomix, or perhaps a friend or family member would love to start their journey with a Thermomix, I would be more than happy to help them and guide them through the steps of getting started with a Thermomix on their kitchen bench. So get in touch with me, I'll be happy to help. And I hope you have a fantastic day or evening, what's left of it. It's just after 5 here in Queensland, and I do hope you have a great evening. I am Bea from Thermi Tucker. I hope you have a good one. Take care.